inevitable.
Galactus is a pawn of Thanos, or is Thanos a pawn of Galactus? Will the Watchers play a larger part in the MCU going forward? Well, stay tuned as we dive into a new theory outlining the relationship between Thanos and Galactus. Before the Disney-Fox merger was even being speculated on, the internet was rife with theories on as to how the Fox-owned Marvel characters could be integrated into the MCU.
Your X-Men.
Even now, most of this speculation has focused on the X-Men, who are the most popular characters owned by Fox and, on first glance, the characters whose introductions would affect the Marvel Universe the most. But in all this speculation, one group of characters has been ignored. We're talking, of course, about the
Fantastic Four. Cool.
A group of characters who have had a rough cinematic journey, to say the least.
It's clobbering time!
But the core team isn't the only part of the equation. There are plenty of characters in their orbit who can make a great impression on the big screen. First of all, there's Namor the Submariner, whose existence may have already been hinted at in Endgame with Okoye's report on undersea earthquakes.
It's an earthquake under the ocean.
Another character aching for a great MCU entrance is the Silver Surfer, who was the best part of 2007's Fantastic Four sequel, but could be even better in the right hands. For the Silver Surfer to be done effectively, he needs a great Galactus, something the Fox Fantastic Four films really failed to deliver. Actually, that's kind of an understatement. They took one of the coolest characters in Silver Age comics and turned him into a big CGI cloud. But we digress. Let's talk about who Galactus actually is. For the uninitiated, Galactus is considered one of the all-time great Marvel villains, with a great Silver Age design and a classic introduction storyline. In the 1966 story arc, the Galactus Trilogy, Galactus is introduced as an all-powered being from deep inside the galaxy. It's a great story and introduces him perfectly, so bear with us as we take you through it. Galactus is massive, and in order to survive, uses a device on his spaceship to drain the life energy of entire worlds. Basically, the dude eats planets, but Galactus is too huge and lazy to find planets all for himself. He uses other beings called Heralds of Galactus to find planets for him. One of these such heralds is the Silver Surfer, an alien named Norrin Radd who traded his freedom in order to protect his planet from Galactus's hunger. Gifted the power to surf through space, this was the 60s after all, Norrin eventually finds himself on Earth. Once there, he decides humans are worth saving and teams up with the Fantastic Four to defeat Galactus. Though he is warded off from consuming the planet, Galactus strips Silver Surfer of his power to traverse space and traps him on Earth. It's a classic story with an epic cosmic scale that was new to comics at the time. It's perfect for a cinematic adaptation, and though Fox screwed up adapting this exact story in 2007, there is no reason for Marvel to make the same mistake twice. Whether in his spacefaring or earthbound forms, the Silver Surfer is an iconic character with plenty of potential for storylines and team-ups.
Oh, that is cool.
Not only that, but the Galactus Trilogy heavily involves the Watchers, a fascinating group of characters who we've only just barely scratched the surface of in the MCU. If you recall, the Watchers were briefly glimpsed during Stan Lee's cameo in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, and they look kinda like giant baby men. In the comics, the Watchers are an alien race who have vowed to observe cosmos and never interfere. In the Galactus Trilogy, one Watcher, Uatu, reveals himself to the Fantastic Four to warn them about the coming of Galactus. In their recent Comic-Con panel, Marvel revealed that Uatu the Watcher, as voiced by Jeffrey Wright, will serve as the narrator of a new Disney Plus show, What If? Casting Uatu could mean that Marvel plans to involve the Watchers soon, and in turn, be able to use Uatu in the Galactus Trilogy storyline. But getting back to the focus of this video, we want to look at how Galactus could have factored into the plans of our big purple pal, Thanos.
That is destiny fulfilled.
One theory by Reddit scientist Upward Spiral 100 points out a crucial flaw in Thanos' plan, which Galactus could possibly be used to solve. Our friend Dr. Spiral points out that Thanos' solution to galactic overcrowding would in reality be a pretty short-lived one. If, like in real life, there were around 7.5 billion people on Earth, then the snap, whose purpose was to cut the population in half, would knock it down to around 3.85 billion. In 1972, on actual Earth, there was that same number, about 3.85 billion people. And from 1972 to 2018, the population nearly doubled. See the issue? Thanos' plan would not address what's causing overpopulation, it would just temporarily slow it down. The population would bounce back to its current levels in 46 years. Now, it's easy to dismiss this issue as a small inconsistency that could happen in a comic book movie, or that it was a mistake on the part of Thanos. That could be true if we were dealing with another dumber MCU villain, but Thanos is no abomination or dark elf. He is one of the smartest characters in the MCU, so surely he would have thought of this.
You're not the only one cursed with knowledge.
No, it seems more likely that the snap was only the beginning of Thanos' plan. Our Reddit friend Upward Spiral asks us to look at how focused Thanos was on destroying the stones.
He used the stones to destroy the stones.
He was willing to injure himself, give away his location, and consequently his own life to destroy them once and for all. Thanos was wary of the stone's power, yes, but what if he had another motive for getting rid of them? Destroying the stones created an energy blast so powerful it could be tracked from across the galaxy. Could it have done something else, like awaken a sleeping giant? Huh? Enter Galactus. Galactus could be the ultimate insurance policy for Thanos' vision. Even if the population of Earth and other planets would continue to grow, Galactus would keep them in check.
I am Galactus.
Who better to keep the universe from growing out of control than a guy who treats a galaxy like an all-you-can-eat buffet? It's very possible that Thanos could see his death at the hands of the Avengers coming by using the Time Stone, so it would make a lot of sense that he prepared a contingency plan. Destroying the stones would not only keep him from using them again, they would wake Galactus and ensure that the galaxy was always kept in balance.
This whole thing should be.
It's also possible that Thanos used the stones to create Galactus. It would be a major feat, but it would not create as much energy as the snap, and thus would be undetectable by the Avengers. The gap between the end of Infinity War and the beginning of Endgame was around 3 weeks, and who knows what Thanos could have used the stones for in that time. There's actually a theory floating around that Thanos actually fears Galactus and was attempting to protect the galaxy from complete destruction. The theory is that Thanos was intentionally keeping the population of the galaxy down to prevent detection from Galactus and his heralds. The theory tracks because the Galactus of the comics drains the life force of a planet, meaning that Thanos' barren, life-draining galaxy wouldn't have been as appealing. So why wouldn't he just tell the heroes what he's doing? Well, if the Avengers don't trade lives, as Captain America has suggested,
We don't trade lives, Vision.
they would probably not look kindly on destroying half of life in the universe to save all of it, except that Thanos claims to have snapped the entire universe, not just the galaxy, which may poke a hole in this theory. Though it is always possible that he's lying, any theory which has Thanos fearing Galactus also begs the question as to why Thanos would not just snap him away. If he has all the power in the universe, who would he be left to fear? Unless, of course, Galactus is more powerful than the Infinity Stones. In the comics, Galactus is sometimes portrayed as a force of nature, a being so powerful that he is impossible to stop or reason with. After all, the dude eats planets. It's possible he's the one thing the stones can't affect. Though it's also worth noting that the comic book Thanos is usually portrayed as more powerful than Galactus and has bested him in the past. Still, the MCU is not above changing the comics at their own whim, especially when it comes to characters' power levels. Captain Marvel is very powerful in the comics, but her powers seem to be upped even more in the movies, and it doesn't seem at all like a stretch that Marvel would do the same thing in introducing a new villain. If Thanos was the big bad for the first 3 phases of the MCU, Galactus could easily do the same for Phase 4 and beyond. But there's one more outlandish possibility about Galactus and Thanos that we'd like to explore, if you let us. Oh, you don't want to hear it? It's silly. Okay, if you insist, consider this. Thanos is dead set on gathering the Infinity Stones, and when he does, uses them to weaken every planet in the universe. In other words, Thanos tours the universe, collects the most powerful weapons, and then reduces its collective defenses. You see where we're going with this? Thanos is a herald of Galactus. It makes some sense, doesn't it? Galactus has been driven away from planets before, including by the relatively small force of the Fantastic Four and the Silver Surfer. He could easily be defeated by the might of the Infinity Stones or a galactic army like the Kree or the Nova Corps. If Thanos could gather and destroy the Infinity Stones, plus cut every galactic army in half, it would make the universe ripe for the eating. This could also explain why Thanos is seen committing genocide in the flashbacks to Gamora's childhood. It's possible that both he and Galactus wanted to be in control of the most powerful armies in the galaxy. This theory even covers why Thanos lied about his motives. By claiming the snap is part of a misguided attempt to balance the universe, he takes all the attention away from Galactus and focuses it on himself. Like a good herald, Thanos cleared the way and ensured the remaining Avengers were not even aware of Galactus. It's even possible that Galactus was already working his way through the universe, slowly approaching Earth before the snap was reversed. Another possibility is that Thanos was a herald under duress, like the Silver Surfer. It seems unlikely that he would be Galactus' lackey voluntarily, so if he was resentful of Galactus' control over him, maybe Thanos rebelled. Maybe the snap, among other things, was a way of cutting Galactus' food source in half. If Galactus is truly too powerful to be destroyed by the stones, then this could be Thanos' way of starving him out, allowing the universe to survive while Galactus is cut off from having enough food. Regardless of the validity of these different theories, the question of the relationship between these two characters is an interesting one. Both are too powerful and infamous throughout the galaxy that they would be unaware of each other. So how do they factor into each other's plans? Were they annoyances, integral chess pieces, or collaborators? Whatever the creatives of the MCU choose in introducing Galactus, his relationship to Thanos must be addressed. So what do you think? Was Galactus part of Thanos' plan? Was Thanos a herald of Galactus? Subscribe to ScreenRant for more great content.